It's a gift to be simple, it's a gift to be free, it's a gift to come down where we are to be. And when we find ourselves in a place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight.
Rose was truly the big sister and the one who really taught me a lot, gave me self-confidence, and saw me through some troubling years as I went through college and became a man. She would guide me and help me understand how things would be in life and what the best way is to do it. We would sit and talk, have coffee, maybe a beer, glass of wine, sit on their patio at the Dome House in Ashland, overlooking the beautiful valley, and just talk for hours about senseless things, about fun things, and about meaningful things. Rose was caring. She raised two beautiful daughters, Erin and Joyce, who I love very much. And Russ and I had so much fun, along with Rose, in all the joys and adventures we did throughout Ashland. I am so blessed to have her in my life. And if there are stories you really want to know, you can call me, or you can certainly ask Erin and Joyce. They will be more than willing to share all the fun and hard times that we had. Mostly we had fun, although we did argue sometimes.
No, you might receive, wish I'd received it. Oh.
Proud hostess here. The first time we're videotaping this beautiful home. Could be in better homes and gardens, I'll tell you.
Before or after you're here, Brad?
Well, it's before, definitely. There's no doubt we're trying to make some subtle subtle changes, and our kids are helping.
Connor and Joseph.
Excuse me, Bev.
Thank you.
Well, we should have let the choir director here lead us, and then it would have been really good.
They were looking at me as if these words don't go with that tune.
I don't know that set of...
That Lamb family has
I thought we
four
were
verses.
That's what I understand.
I think that's marvelous.
The Lamb family has 4 verses for just about everything there is in life, best I can figure.
Can't beat it.
Okay.
So they sing that.
Wide variety. That's nice.
I'm learning it because I've
for
been
him.
to 2 birthdays.
Celebrations recently. I'm gonna give you this and more. There, it's your big birthday.
Remembering Rose and the perseverance and steadfastness she had in her life always. A wonderful example being carried on by her family now. Love, Mom.
'Twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we will not be ashamed. To turn and to turn will be our delight.
Well, hi. Here's Kay, number 10. I have a lot of great memories of Rose when I was growing up, and I continue to carry a lot of my memories and what I learned from Rose in all of my life. One of my first memories of Rose was July 1966. She was home with me and Michael waiting for Mom to come home from the hospital with baby Jean Ann. I was 3.5 years old. There was a bassinet in the living room. The curtains were drawn to keep the house cool. It was, of course, a hot July. She was 18. A month later, Rose left for college. Rose was the one that would take me to the park. She taught me how to ride a bike, how to play tennis, how to ice skate. Rose was also the teacher role model for me. Rose was determined and purposeful in what she wanted. She told me, if you want it, you have to make it happen. Well, that's been my life's philosophy. It was June 28, 1996 in Houston. We were on a shuttle on our way to the clinic. She said, "Oh my, today is your anniversary. Yours was one I didn't want to miss." It was our 10th anniversary. I reminded her she had called me the morning of my wedding. It was October 1996. I arrived in Ashland. I had a decision to make, as I had been offered a job as the gifted and talented program director. I would have to leave my third graders and leave a life as a traditional classroom teacher. As we were at the table when I arrived, she said, I talked to Mom. She said, "You have a decision to make." Rose said, "Life is too short. Look at me. Take a chance. You will grow and be a fantastic advocate for those gifted kids." I have great memories. Love you, Rose.
Hi, everybody. What I remember about my Aunt Rose is what a great cook she was, and what a wonderful, warm person she was, and her singing, her and Uncle Russ at Christmas and Thanksgiving. Every year, my family, Frank and Colleen and me and Molly, would drive up to Ashland, Oregon, and it would always take us forever to get there. And no matter what, they would always welcome us into their home so graciously. And Rose always made me feel so special as a kid. And I remember being like, I can't even believe I'm related to these wonderful people. In particular, Rose making strawberry rhubarb pie with rhubarb out of their garden at the Geodesic Dome in Ashland, and I loved her enchiladas that were so different from any enchiladas I'd ever eaten but growing up in California, but they were so delicious. And yeah, she always just hugged me and loved me and made me feel so special, and I miss her so much.
Me and you, and I think to myself, What a wonderful world. Well, I see skies of blue and I see clouds of white and the brightness of day. I like the dark and I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
My big sister Rose, going back to Christmas time, 1977, Linda and I were still dating, and Rose had invited us over for dinner to their beautiful little cottage in Fort Wayne, where she had decorated everything like Currier knives, a live tree, and vines and greens across the mantle, and candles, and it was just gorgeous. And Rose walked into the living room, and I heard her yell, "David!" As I ran out, I saw that the mantle was on fire, all the decorations. So we pulled it down, kicked it into the fireplace. I might have grabbed the spaghetti water and dumped that on there to put it out. We had some explaining to do when Russ got home, and Linda arrived to quite a mess. But we had a great dinner and laughed about it. Everybody was safe. And it just made me think of how Rose loved Christmas and loved the holidays. Miss you, Rose.
Hi, I'm going for it. I have so many memories of Rose. So many. She was my big sister and she was my mentor. By definition, that means a wise and trusting counselor. And she was all of that. She was the first person who said to me, "You need to take care of yourself." And I had never really heard that before. Now we know it's a lifelong journey, but she's the first one who really helped me out with that. And then, of course, she helped Frank and me and Molly and Shane really get a sense of tradition, family tradition. That, was so her thing. And so we would troop up every Thanksgiving over the river and through the woods to Aunt Rose's house. We would go and start cooking up a storm. Pies, always pies. Grandma's rolls with lots of butter. The turkey and all the fixings and everything, homemade from scratch. And we cooked and we cooked. And went for a beautiful walk in Lithia Park in Ashland. Such a beautiful place along the river, and while the turkey was in the oven, and then went home to continue with the tradition of setting a beautiful table, with the good china and the flowers and the candles. And then, of course, getting dressed up. That was Molly's favorite part. I think it still is. And just, having Thanksgiving that couldn't be beat. Followed by hours of dishes, of course, and then board games. We would play board games or ridiculous Pictionary games. And she laughed. She would love it. She would just love it. And everybody sitting around being funny and crazy and just being together. And so, I could go on, but Rose and Russ just opened their homes, their hearts, and welcomed my family. And we just did that tradition of Thanksgiving all together with so much gratitude. And now Rose would be very proud and happy that Molly is now carrying on her tradition. And we're now doing, whoever can show up at Molly's for Thanksgiving, we're carrying that all those traditions on, being together with family and sharing our blessings and remembering our Aunt Rose. Love you.
that there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do you? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall and the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Well, your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty and the moonlight overthrew you.
Hey, it's Jen. So I have a memory of Aunt Rose. I was probably about 13 and had the chance to fly to Oregon by myself across the country to spend a week during the summer with the Otte family. And we did a lot of really fun things while I was out there. We went to the ocean, we went to the Shakespeare Festival, a bunch of other stuff. But one of the things that stood out to me at the time, Aunt Rose was running for office. I think she was running for State House because I remember the tagline or her slogan was, "Put a rose in the house." And that was so foreign to me. I didn't know anything about politics. It just wasn't something that we talked about in my family. So it was weird, especially the night we sat and watched a session of the House on TV. And I thought this was the most boring thing I've ever seen in my life. It really wasn't until I was in my 30s that I cared about politics at all and started getting involved more. But I often think back on that and just how cool it was that Aunt Rose wanted to make a difference in her community and in her state. So that's one of my fond memories of her.
Hi everybody, I want to thank Annie for making it possible for all of us to be able to do this in celebration of Rose. And I have two stories actually that I'd like to share with you in regards to Rose and how special she was to our lives. The first story is that when I spent a lot of time with Rose down in Texas, we were down there because she was fighting her breast cancer, getting ready to go to MD Anderson. So a lot of our talks were kind of serious, and she was doing a lot of discerning about life and what she'd already accomplished, what she was still hoping to. And I found myself ready to talk to her about how I'd always wanted to do something, and I realized all of a sudden I needed to just do it. So I excused myself a second and I went into my kitchen, pulled a phone number out that I'd had there for quite a while, and I made a phone call, and it was to make an appointment for my first art class and art lesson. And so that is how I started to do something I'd waited to do all my life, which was to start painting. And Rose, thankfully, was a big part of that. And I just think that it's wonderful. So we have Rose to thank for that. My other fun little story is that Rose wrote me a little note because she was always trying to make sure people were being good to themselves and that they were doing things that they needed to do to be accomplished in life. And I was struggling with some stuff, so she wrote this little note to me, and it said that basically if you need to find something good out of every day, and no matter what's happened and no matter what you've been through, to just every night before you go to bed, think everything through and try to find some kind of joy in your heart that happened that day, even if it's been tough. So I guess that's the counsel that Rose is still giving 25 years later, because I do that every single night, and I read her little note, and I try and find some joy. So I'm going to ask all of you to go forward in your day, take Rose's advice, find joy in every day. Love you guys. Can't wait to see what everybody else has to share.
you are on the road must have a code that you can live by, and so become yourself, because the past is just a goodbye. Teach your children well, their father's hell did slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams, the one they picked, the one you know by. Don't you ever ask them why, if they told you you would cry, so just look at them and sigh, and know they love you. And you of tender years can't know the fears that your elders grew by, and so please help them with your youth. They see the truth before they can die. Teach your parents well, their children's hell.
Hi. Rose was almost 7 when Dave and I came home from the hospital. She had 2 little sisters and 2 little brothers already. So I think the novelty had worn off. But mostly what I remember is, Rose was already in school by the time I was, toddling around at 1. And I just watched what she was doing, and Ann and Colleen, and she was always, she was the first one doing everything. So watching her to go to brownies, or campfire girls she was, and junior high and high school. And I remember watching her go to the prom. We did our hair back then, and I was running around crazy with hair and curlers. And, then suddenly we were sitting, me and Maggie and Mary, I think, down by the little radio in the living room by the front door, watching for the first glimpse of the boyfriend. And then Rose came down the stairs, and it was like our own real princess.
I have so many fond memories of Aunt Rose. I remember her scarves, her beautiful scarves that she always wore, and her laugh that was so big. And I remember her food, her pies, and everything she cooked. And I just remember how she really knew how to make things feel special, how to make a day special, and how to make everyone feel included and loved. And she was such a powerful presence, and I'm so grateful that I got to spend as much time with her as I did, and I think of her so often and miss her so much.
I'm really glad to participate in this celebration of life for Rose. There are so many things to say about Rose. I know that we all have great stories, both good and bad. The one thing I always know about Rose is that she always tried to bring a smile to your face and create a new solution for you with just a sound determination that I think we all can value from. When I'm down here in Florida and I'm out on the beach and the waves are going, it's peaceful, it's quiet, I think of Rose. I just sat down there last week, and I tell you, the memories just kept flowing. I miss her, as we all do. I love her, I always will, and I'm just I'm just happy that she's a part of our life and our family. I miss her and I love her.
She taught me much by example, and I always think of her with this proverb: she's clothed with strength and dignity, and she laughs without fear of the future. Rosemarie Kelly Otte was blessed, as we all know, to be the oldest of 12 beautiful children, and I was blessed that she was my sister. Rose was passionate about so much, especially education, politics, discussion, and nurturing, particularly of her children. And these are some of the books that she loved to pass on when any one of a niece or nephew was born, and talked often about how much time Joyce and Aaron spent perusing and just scribing all the pictures that went in, particularly Tommy DePolo's Mother Goose. She also had the claim to fame as being the only person in my life that I know to this day that lived in a dome.
So here I am in this moment in time, remembering so many moments in my time, remembering Rose, as I do every single day. I'm thinking of the many causes my sister passionately devoted her time, energy, and emotion to, and was always teaching me something. I know I often felt that she was just big sistering me, but knowing now the many things I didn't know then, I feel grateful for how lucky I was that she was just always looking out for me. So I do my best to honor her memory by remaining teachable and waking every day with a grateful heart. So keep on keeping on, everybody, for we have lots more to learn and much work to do to continue supporting the many causes she fought so hard for.
Why are there so many songs about rainbows? And what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, but only illusions, and rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Who said that every wish would be heard and answered when wished on the morning star? Somebody thought of that, and someone believed it. Look what it's done so far. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? And what do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me.
Rose, where to begin? When I think of you, feelings of unconditional love, hope, and support are ever present. You are always 100% available to help in any way. You took your job as big sister so seriously, I don't know how you had time for anything else. Rose, you looked out for me, and I looked up to you. Your children and grandchildren are exceptional, and you'd be so proud. I look forward to sharing sharing all sorts of stories with them at any time. God bless you all. Love, Maggie.
This is Meredith Peck, and I am happy to remember Rose with love and fondness. She was a dear friend. I have one story to tell that has always been close to my heart, and it's cemented my belief that was reconfirmed when the butterfly appeared at Aaron's wedding, that Rose has special connections and is somehow a conduit between this life and the next. And at a point where Rose was diagnosed and knew that there was no coming back and that she was going to die, she and I made a compact with one another that I, who at the time was in formation to become a deacon in the Episcopal Church, would journey with her as she walked the road that was ahead of her. So part of that was the first thing we decided to do was to go spend a weekend at the coast and spend a time in prayer and friendship and just having some good time together. And so we went over to the coast. We drove in her wonderful Saab, and when we got there, we were staying at one of her friend's house, and we got in and we got ourselves settled, and then we thought it would be nice to go out for a little walk. So we went out for a walk, and when we returned from the walk, we decided to go in the front door, which was easier to access from the walk area we'd gone on. And so we tried to open that door, and there was no way. It was like nailed shut or something like that. It was just not a place to enter the house. So we went around to the back and went in the back door and spent the afternoon. Early that evening, we went out for dinner, and on the way out, Rose called to me, "Would you please bring the keys?" And so I grabbed the keys that I saw, and as we went out and locked up the house, we left and had dinner. When we came back, I pulled out the keys. Well, I picked up the wrong keys. Now, we knew that this place, we didn't know what we were going to do. We were locked out. That's all there was to it. We checked, and all the windows were at either up too high, or we just knew that there was no way that we could go through windows. That was not an option. And there was a secondary back door, and we tried that, and it was locked. And then just kind of flippantly, it was like, well, we might as well try the front door, although we knew that it was securely locked, having tried already that day. We went up to the front door, and the miracle happened. The door opened up with ease. And I think we both knew at that minute that the Holy Ghost was with us, that the Spirit was on this journey we were taking together, and we just felt blessed and affirmed. And so I remained close by Rose all through her journey. It was a privilege to accompany her. And she died just a few weeks before my ordination. And she had been really determined that she was going to be in charge of the reception that happened afterwards. And of course, she was unable to, but we had formed a group that was in spiritual support of her, and that group stepped in, and Rose was, of course, there. Rose is present a lot in my life. And it is just a joy to have been her friend and I will forever miss her.
There is not a day that goes by that I don't think of Rose. She was not only my sister, but my friend, my second mom. We were only a year and a half apart, and we're so close. She always wanted to take care of me. A few things stand out. I remember when she was 5, and Mom and Colin and I would walk her to the bus stop on the corner to go to kindergarten. And I cried every day because I was losing my friend to play with. I was 4, Colleen was 2. But somehow we made it through. Rose was, you might say, a take-charge person. Yeah. She always carried herself with confidence. She was very smart, and she did not take anything from anyone, especially our dad. She was very smart, and she could easily stand up to him. She set goals for herself at a very young age, and she always followed through to make them happen. When Colleen and I shared the same bedroom, which we did until she went to college, she was very neat. I, on the other hand, not so much. She would take my clothes and throw them in the closet and shut the door, or she would take them and shove them under my bed. We would always go to sleep at night listening to Johnny Mathis on the record player. Colleen and I had no choice in that matter. Rose was a goody two-shoes. I, not so much. I missed her when she went to college. We had our differences, but we were always friends. Then she got married. She moved to England. But we tried to talk every other week. She was my mentor. I still have a letter that she wrote me from 1985. And she recommended that I read the book, The Road Less Traveled. She encouraged me not to worry so much about my siblings. Go figure. She was so very happy with her family of 4. She wrote that having a job, her family, and volunteering was as much energy as she had. Rose recommended that remembered that I told her that she was doing too much, and she tried to put everything into perspective, and she thanked me for that, encouraging me to do the same. I have 2 more memories that I cherish. When Aaron was 16 and starting to look at colleges, they came to Mount Holyoke, and then they went to see us. And all the Ottes and the Drnecs went to Washington, D.C., and I still have a great picture of all of us standing in front of the Capitol, the bottom of the steps. Such great memories and so much fun. The other amazing memory is New York. Rose really wanted to take her girls to see Carnegie Hall and a Broadway show. We went to see Cats. I took the train up, and we enjoyed a restaurant the day. It was wonderful. I'll never forget it. I also remember that Joyce's hair was very long, and Rose really wanted to get her hair cut in the Big Apple. She thought that would really be cool. But I don't think that ever happened. Even though it's been 25 years, Rose's legacy goes on. She's still helping me stay out of trouble and make good decisions. When I asked my kids what they remembered about Rose, they all said her great smile and how much she meant to me. I miss her every day.
I am woman, hear me roar, in numbers too big to ignore,
and I know too much to go back and pretend. 'Cause I've heard it all before, and I've been down there on the floor. No one's ever gonna keep me down again. Whoa, yes, I'm wise, but it's wisdom for the pain. Yes, I paid the price, but look how much I gained. If I have to, I can do anything. I am strong, I am invincible, I am woman. You can bend but never break me, 'cause it only serves to make me more determined to achieve my final goal. And I come back even stronger, not a novice